This episode of the GSE Podcast is brought to you by Exceed Ground Support Equipment Leasing, your trusted partner for GSE solutions. We specialize in tailored operating leases for ground handlers and airlines, offering top-notch equipment in flexible terms to suit your needs. Partner with the industry leaders like Mallaghan. We're committed to bringing you new equipment offerings that keep your operations running smoothly and efficiently. Choose Exceed for competitive rates and exceptional customer service. Visit exceedgse.com today and soar to new heights with Exceed Ground Support Equipment Leasing. All right. Well, welcome to the GSE Podcast. I am in Newnan, Georgia at Mallaghan's U.S. headquarters, and I'm joined by John Cameron and Joe Griffith. How you guys doing?
Well, how are you?
Great, Matt. Welcome to Mallaghan's.
Thank you so much. I got a tour from Joe, and I got to see the facility. It's a really nice facility you got here, and I can't wait to kind of dive in and talk to you guys about Mallaghan and kind of the history behind, how this came to be from Northern Ireland to the United States.
Looking forward to it, Matt. It's a great story, I hope so.
Yeah. So who's going to tell that story?
Hey, I'll do it. I'm the guy with a funny accent, I suppose. So I'll lead on. It's I think you sort of highlighted it in your post ahead of time. It's a family business, and it very much started out as a family business. It's now a second generation Mallaghan family that are the two principal shareholders. But Ronan and Niall are the two brothers now that own and operate Mallaghan. But their father Terry was the guy who started the business, and Terry and his whole family were very much, I suppose, of that entrepreneur mind and stuff, and had been involved in different parts of the engineering industry. And the background story that everybody loves to tell is Terry was on his way to Europe and to Spain on holiday one day, and as he was getting ready to disembark the plane, he saw the ground operations going on and all the little vehicles coming out to service the aircraft, and he just had the idea that, hey, there's a couple of machines there tend to do the same thing. I wonder if I could come up with one machine that would do the whole thing in one turn. And there was born Mallaghan. They went away. They put together the very original product, which was I think the LBT90, and it was a kind of sort of tractor conveyor type arrangement, and that really was the company born from that. And the two brothers, obviously, as they grew up, became very much entrenched in the business with their father, and that's the background too. That was probably back in 1990, hence the LBT90 acronym.
Okay, that's where the 90 comes from.
Yeah, so that really was their breakthrough into the GSE market, and I think they've pretty much pushed forward and taken the company forward since that point. So it's 30 years plus now, and obviously, sadly, their father passed away a few years ago now. But Ronan and Niall very much carrying the torch, the family name, and very much family values as they drive the business forward, which makes it a fun place to be around.
Yeah, you can tell it's a great culture that you all have here just from walking around. So when did you start with Mallaghan, John?
Me, I joined them back in start of 2012. So I'm relatively new when you speak to some of the people that have been in this industry a long time. But I'm an engineer by background. I'm an electrical and electronic engineer by academic qualification, although it seems a lifetime ago that I was poring over schematics and circuits and stuff. I spent a good portion of my early career, in fact, 20 years plus in the oil and gas industry, offshore oil and gas, and always around equipment, always around manufacturing and servicing. And And so it was a relatively easy transition. I suppose oil and gas is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year industry, and very much have sidestepped into an industry that's very, very similar. And even the nature of the customers, oil and gas is sort of dominated by those kind of big blue chip multinationals and stuff.
Yeah.
And we know when we come into this airline sector that there's some very big dominant players as well. So it was a nice switch for me. From a lifestyle point of view, I'd been away from the UK for about 12 years. I'd accumulated 3 kids on my travels. And so it was just a good point for me to return. And a mutual friend had introduced me to Ronan. We over the course of a couple of months, it became that there was actually a genuine opportunity to join them. And I've never looked back, if I'm honest with you. I really enjoy it.
And so what is your title here? I'm sorry.
So title now is Chief Operating Officer. So okay. I a recent change to my title just in the last few weeks. So really I get to do the fun part of looking after all our production operations, both here in Newnan and back in Northern Ireland, and our engineering, our supply chain, health and safety, that type of thing. So yeah. I suppose really anything that's maybe less forward-facing now. I've obviously, I've spent a lot of years on the sales and commercial development side, but I'm happy to pass that mantle on to Joe here and let him pick it up. And I probably look a little bit more at the sort of operational side of the business and making sure that we get the products out to our customers.
Yeah, that's important. So, and Joe, that's now your job.
Yeah, no, I get to pick it up. John's left some mighty big shoes to fill. So, I joined Mallaghan in 2017. Prior to that, I started at Delta in 2007 as a mechanic and worked my way up through the GSE organization for them, eventually going into engineering and project management and fleet work. And that's where I met John. John was calling on Delta to start supplying Mallaghan equipment into them, and developed a friendship with him. And he started talking about kind of the growth of Mallaghan, the story of Mallaghan. They had a good reputation for quality. That's why we were looking at them. But he started talking about kind of the growth of the business and where they wanted to take it. And one thing led to another. And I tell people that I left a Fortune 100 company to work for a family-owned Irish company. So I don't know who's crazy here, but yeah, it's so that was in 2017. Joined in 2017, and John and I sat at a picnic table with some folding chairs and a big giant empty building here in Newnan, and a lot of sleepless days and nights and everything else that went into it. But really a labor of love, and grew it from the ground up. We created a culture. We took the Mallaghan family culture and instilled it here, and then brought kind of a new way forward for our factory here, and grew it to what it is today.
That's great. Yeah. The facility is really nice. You obviously do a lot of production here. Sounds like you turn out a lot of units. A lot of that stuff, it gets assembled here, right? But I think you're telling me that a lot of the fabrication happens in Northern Ireland. Is that correct? Yeah.
So all of our raw metal work is still done out of our headquarters in Northern Ireland. And as we were discussing earlier, that's due in part to tens of millions of dollars or pounds of investment in machinery and equipment and facilities to process the metal work, and 30 years of knowledge accumulated to put that stuff together. And it's advantageous because it's where our design engineering offices are headquartered. So all of that metal work gets processed there, and then we move it on a very regular cadence of delivery to Newnan through the port of Savannah. And that's how we feed this factory. So all the raw metal work comes in, we shake out the container. It's like a giant erector set, nuts, bolts, and everything. And to try to do your best to put it together and get it out the door.
Yeah. And it also allows you, I imagine, to get a consistent quality product that's exact same as it is in Europe as it is here. Just maybe different chassis and stuff like that. Obviously, because of the trucks that we kind of discussed, how they're a little bit different here in the United States than they are in Europe. But that's great. So I think, Joe, you're going to give us a story, right? Like this is, we're going to get a good GSE story out of you.
Yeah, no.
Before we get too technical here, we don't want to get too far down the road before we get a good story.
Most of our stories aren't for the.
Do they usually happen in Vegas?
Anywhere,
just anywhere.
Typical Mallaghan way, but no. We, as we said, we started this factory in 2017, and we had a lot of support from some of our very experienced subject matter experts that come over from Ireland, and engineers, and a lot of expertise came over. And one of the young men that came over to help us kind of train this team here and get them stood up was a guy by the name of Shane McMahon. And he came over and spent the first 3 to 4 months here in America consistently and helping get our teams up to speed. And brilliant young man, fell in love with America and fell in love with what we were doing here, wanted to be a part of what we were creating, and went back home and talked about kind of what he wanted to do and why he wanted to do it. And he ultimately fell victim to suicide. And that was, as a family-owned business and being very close with all of our colleagues and ultimately friends, it was hugely impactful to the business, and left a mark. His father actually is one of our senior leaders of production in Ireland, and so that left a very big mark on our company. And so what we, as part of our 5-year anniversary of being in America last year, we wanted to remember Shane and do something in his honor. So we actually kicked off a charity golf tournament, and that became a labor of love. Really, it's something that we had talked about doing. Obviously, there was a period of time there between 2017 and 2022 that was we'll call it the forgotten years. Mm-hmm. But really, it worked out well. 5 years anniversary came up. We got the tournament up. We raised over I believe the final figure was around $15,000 for suicide awareness. And it was through gracious support of partners and sponsors, and Exceed being one of them. And that really became a resounding success, and is talked about pretty much everywhere we go. We always hear about the golf tournament and all the fun that was had, and the lack of golf that was played or good game that was played. But really it left a mark. So we decided to make it an annual thing. And again, you guys have graciously supported us this year and the cause as a presenting sponsor for the Shane McMahon Celebration of Life the night before the golf tournament. So really, really excited for it. So the Mallaghan Shamrock Classic we intend on putting on every year in October. So that's our GSE story. That's
No, it's a good one. So that happens here in Atlanta.
Yep.
In October, weather is beautiful.
It is.
I mean, that's the best time to have it.
Yeah.
So that'll be great. Yeah, we'll be there. Exceed will be there.
Absolutely.
And like you said, we'll be sponsoring it. So we'll definitely see you guys then. And I'm a terrible golfer.
You're in good company.
I mean,
good company.
Just awful. I went and played with Luke, and one of your sales account managers.
Yep.
And he was like, "Well, you just keep going." And I was like, yeah, I do.
He's a fine one to talk about good golf.
He's like, I'm proud of you. You just keep going, no matter how bad you are. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's pretty good. So
we're really excited. I mean, the presenting sponsors for last year were Delta and Averist and Waters Truck and Tractor. And
those are good sponsors.
Very, very, very good sponsors, very good partners for us. And they've graciously agreed to do it this year. And you guys have graciously agreed to be the presenting sponsor for Shane's Celebration of Life the night before. So it's grown just tremendously, and the interest level is amazing this year. So it's something we welcome. Even some of our competitors have reached out and saying, "Hey, can we come be a part of it?" And it's not about competitive. It's about raising money for a cause, something that was hugely impactful. So really, really looking forward to this year's tournament.
Well, that's good. It was an unexpected story, but a good one, and I appreciate you sharing that. And I'm glad we can help out with that cause. So
thank you.
That's great. So let's talk about, what are you bringing to the GSE Expo this year, guys?
Yeah. So I didn't cover it earlier, but my role, I'm the commercial manager for the Americas. So I oversee the sales and service teams, spare parts, anything kind of, as John said, he covers the back of house and I cover the front of the house. And so this year's show is obviously going to be heavily focused on electric. So we will be bringing some really innovative products. We're launching a brand new product at the show, obviously electric, and we're also bringing an electrified version of our Mallaghan Continental Stair, which is a big deal. A lot of customers are asking for that. So we're launching that into North America using lithium battery technology, and really excited. And then one of our Mallaghan TA 8200 de-icers is going to be out there with us. So
wow, so you're bringing some pretty big equipment.
We are. Yeah.
We like to go heavy on product,
It'll be
a great show. It's Joe and the team there are well versed and obviously talking the good talk when we get out there. But it's going to be great. I think everybody knows the industry is obviously heavily biased now towards that electrification piece, and the industry's made some pretty bold statements on where it wants to go over the next 10, 20 years. And like everybody else, we want to be playing our part in achieving some of those targets. So, whether it's in some of these new products that we're developing or taking some of our existing products and moving them into the electric era, that's really where all the heavy lifting's going on back within our engineering and our product development at the moment. And the show is always a great opportunity to showcase some of that new stuff, and no different than any other year. I think it's always good where you have a chance to put a new product out there. It's good for us in the sense that we've worked on it with one of our key partners, and so again, it's a nice development story. It's often challenging for some of the manufacturers to make sure they hit all the right points whenever they launch a new product. But if you're doing it with a customer that's happy to share their operational wants, then it means that you probably get the thing to market in a much healthier case and a much quicker timescale. So It's been a lot of fun developing it, and obviously now it's the cherry on top part, isn't it? It's putting it out there at a show and letting people come and see it and touch it. And
now is the fun part.
Yeah. Very much so.
So was there like a unit like that was kind of low-hanging fruit that was easier to electrify than others? Or are you not even allowed to say like what we're going to see in Vegas yet? And I should just go ahead and sidestep this question.
No, well, I think Joe talked about a passenger stair. I mean, electric, and I'm sure, and I've listened to some of your earlier podcasts, and we're all in a similar boat. Most of us have had electric products in our portfolio for a good number of years. I mean, we've, our electric stair and another guys has been around for probably 10 years plus now. But clearly the market was only looking for it in a fragmented way back then. And it's only really been over the last sort of 3 to 4 years that there's been this real push to hit some of the the net zero goals that our key customers in the industry setting for itself. So, this conversion process for us on some of our existing products has been happening for a while now. Okay. And as the market demand increases, then obviously the additional horsepower we put into the conversion has developed naturally. But where something new comes along, obviously you still like that moment of pulling back the curtain, and there it is. So that's my roundabout way, Matt, of saying, you'll just have to wait another few weeks till we get to Vegas.
Okay, but, I was just, there's other manufacturers that have products that seem to be much easier to electrify than the kind of portfolio that you all have.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see, do you know what booth you are?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
All right. Well, they're going to be outside. You're going to be outside. We'll be outside. You can't miss them.
You won't miss us.
Yeah.
Just listen for the Irish band and the laughter.
Oh, okay. We're going to have an Irish band there?
We are.
No way.
Yeah.
We are. Joe's been practicing for months
now.
Joe.
All right. We're going to have like green beer and like just do the whole thing
it's
right?
It's going to be proper.
I can't wait for this. So yeah, that'll be great. All All right, so let's talk de-icers.
Sounds good.
So do you all do a narrow body de-icer and a wide body de-icer, or like I just don't honestly know.
Yeah. So currently we offer kind of one product range,
okay.
And it's sized as a mainline wide body capable de-icer.
Okay.
So we call that our Mallaghan TA 8200, which is roughly equates out to about 2,200 gallons of capacity, 47-foot reach, and open basket, closed basket, forced air, non-forced air, single operator capable. So that's kind of the current offering. And then, John's leading the engineering and R&D teams, and there's always, we're always looking at new opportunities to expand that product as we kind of focus our product offerings into kind of key areas, and de-icers is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've heard good things about your de-icer. I just wasn't sure. Like I saw on the website that you only offered one de-icer, but I wasn't sure. Like, so it's mainly being used as, for, I'm guessing, a wide body operation.
Yeah, pad operations, mainline operations. But, there's, as John said, we develop products all the time around what our key partners are looking for to suit their operations. So, that's something that we're always looking at, and especially as we kind of focus on that offering.
Yeah.
Like the company strapline, I suppose, Matt, this innovation for aviation is something the company still holds very dear, and its outlook and strategy going forward. And as Joe says, even where we are active in a particular part of the market, so our de-icing, we've had that product out for a good number of years now, and both in the rest of the world, UK and Europe, and obviously now here in North America, it's been very, very well received. But, we always know that there are other opportunities out there as well. So, wherever we can look at to see that maybe is there either room in the market, or is there a need in the market to develop a new product or put something else out there. So, we're always actively looking at that, and again we're well backed up. Joe referenced earlier that our engineering's back in Dungannon. We carry a pretty large engineering team, and so because of that, we have that ability to every year look at where we want to push some of the products, or even bring something new out there. So it's a good place to be in. We can react pretty quickly if we see something out there that maybe gives us another chance to move in that direction.
Yeah, it's just where you want to like focus your efforts and what your customers are asking for.
No, and for being a family-owned company, and we absolutely do adhere to the strapline of innovation. I mean, we're investing millions of dollars every year in innovating our products and offerings. So.
Yeah, no, the de-icing market, it's obviously it's very much, we have a relatively wide portfolio of products, and people know us for a lot of different things, but different regions have different expectations also. There's obviously here in North America, particularly in your northern states and stuff, that the need for de-icers is paramount from an operational point of view. In other parts of the world, maybe less so. It tends to be driven by, well, did we have a bad winter last year, or so it's a little bit more fluctuation. So, a lot of the development work that we've put into our product that de-icing product over the last couple of years has very much been biased towards our market over here. And as Joe talks about the fact now that we can do single operator version, we've really focused now on a single engine version now as well. So our original product offering had the truck engine and a rear engine, but we've sort of moved away from that now as well. And again, that's that whole drive towards sort of efficiency and reducing fuel consumption and the like. So no, it's a great product to put, and I think it's one we always like to use the Vegas show and other shows to really talk there, because it's a very specialized part of the industry. There's a lot of, and some really great technology in that part of it. If you think of the amount of engineering technology in a de-icer compared to, some of the more simpler GSE products, it's a fun one to be around. And it's a very specialized team of people. I find I take my hat off to anybody that works in that environment. It's a tough ask midwinter to get up and go spray airplanes,
Yeah. So catering trucks. You do catering trucks. We do a lot of catering trucks.
We do a few of those.
Yeah.
And Joe was kind of teaching me about catering trucks a little bit because my knowledge is very minimal when it comes to catering trucks. But I can admit that. And so Joe was kind of giving me the brief on those. And it seems like, you all really have some innovative approaches on what you've done to the catering truck to make it, what it is today, I guess, and a leader in the market.
Yeah. And I think fundamentally, when a lot of people hear the Mallaghan name or the Mallaghan brand, high lift trucks, so catering obviously very much part of that, but cabin service, cabin cleaning trucks, medical or PRM lifts, bit more popular in Europe where there's maybe less board and bridge activity and there's maybe more remote stand operations where you're trying to get PRM passengers up onto the aircraft and stuff. But anything on a set of scissors, I suppose, is probably the better way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And we really have it's a product that really has become, I suppose, for a lot of our customers, the de facto industry standard for high lift vehicles. And it's been it helped us stand up the factory here in Newnan. So the majority of our product that got us in to the US market initially was our high lift offering. So our catering, and Joe talked about calling on Delta, that was really around their cabin service vehicles or their cabin cleaning trucks. So that high lift product gave us the footprint to come in to North America and stand up the factory here in Newnan. But what it also does is give you opportunity then to go in and talk to those same customers about other products. And But the high lift market, I suppose in relative terms, we are seen as probably the industry leader. Our market share probably reflects that a little bit as well. And we've been very fortunate in that most of our partners over here, our end customers and stuff, have been very open to introducing some new technologies that either legislation has driven around controlled approach and that type of thing, or whether just the fact that one of the big things is also we want to make sure that we're putting the best product out there into the market, but we sometimes have a wide range of customer needs, and everybody thinks they've come up with the secret sauce to have the right specification of truck and stuff. Yeah. And our engineering team is very much able to cope with that. But again, one of the things that really help us drive reliability and quality into the product is consistency of building these machines as well. So a lot of what Joe and his team now are doing are going out and speaking to their customers and saying, yeah, you may want this bell and that whistle on your vehicle, but hey, we can tell you a good spec that'll fit all your operational needs. And what that then does is let us start to think about, well, hey, we can introduce some stock programs into our production plan and hold vehicles on hand, and that then gives people the ability for startups or other type of fast start operations and stuff. And that's really, it's an educational thing on both sides. We need to understand the customer's needs, but equally, if we can be willing to share sort of best practices and that gives flexibility on both sides. And that's, as a manufacturer, we like nice, smooth production runs, and the lumpiness and the variability of individual customers with individual tastes is more difficult to manage. Not that we don't want to do it. Our business has been born out of being flexible to customers, but as we have grown, and I suppose if you're in maybe a kind of market leading position, you can drive some of the narrative. And what we're trying to do now is, tell people more about, here's all the good things we put on these vehicles. And hey, if that suits your operation, what we can think about now is holding some vehicles for you. And just if it helps then your operation yourself to be more flexible, then it's a win-win for everybody,
I completely agree. If we can get, just even a couple customers using the same specs, it would be fantastic, right? And
it's the dream.
It is the dream, but it does make sense though, because there's customers that have maybe figured something out and gotten to the point where they're adding this option every single time. It's a great option for them. And then, just educating, maybe another airline like, hey, listen, they're using this and this is the reason they're using it. Right. And so it makes sense to me that you all obviously want to try to do that, but it also helps the customers as well.
It does. It does. It really does. And, we understand now, people that thankfully the industry has come back pretty hard after the recovery from COVID and stuff. And people right now, and it's great to see, but people have quite aggressive expectations around product lead time and all the rest. And, we all know that there have been some supply chain challenges for everybody.
Are you serious?
Yeah. You didn't hear about those, Matt?
I know, yeah.
You didn't hear about them?
Yeah, first I've heard.
Yeah. So again, where we can, consolidate on some of the features and some of the functions and some of the specifications, it ultimately will help, I believe, our customer in the long run. And it's not that we don't want to give them that nuance of being able to put something that is important to their operation on, but where we can standardize a little bit more. And I know there's a lot of talk in the industry about, we need to get together more and manufacturers and end customers and all try and work together. But we need to stop running for 5 minutes to allow us to do that sometimes. Yeah. So it's just working with our partners and just trying to find the best solution and what optimizes for both parties, I guess, is what I'm trying to find.
Yeah, you touched on it, but a lot of the alignment is coming from discussions with the end users and bringing them together, and the customers and our partners, and letting them talk amongst themselves and look at how each of them are doing their respective operations, obviously protecting their own secret sauce per se. But when it comes to the GSE, aligning the different outlying elements of their specification, and really for us, it's hugely beneficial as a manufacturer to have them come together and talk and align the spec and talk about best practices and services and highs and lows and things that can be done to improve. So, we try to drive that as much as possible, is to bring them together and let them speak to each other. And then we're just there to be the note takers, really.
Yeah. Maybe we can get them all out golfing at the tournament.
No, that never usually.
Oh, that doesn't work like that.
The golf has its place and like any, but I just sometimes think that the stress of trying to navigate 18 holes without either losing your mind or losing all your golf balls, in my case, usually is challenging enough.
It's like a couple boxes.
Yeah, it's just it's huge. So that way, and then because that way, if I hit it in the woods or something, nobody's waiting on me, right?
Exactly.
I just end up dropping with somebody else. They don't mind playing with me as much when I do stuff like that. So
yeah, my thing is never needing the cart girl to deliver a cold drink. It's another box of balls or sleeve of balls is usually what I'm needing.
I need you to run back to the clubhouse. Actually,
yeah, we're good on drink.
Need a new shirt. Golf. So, all right. Sorry. So, all right. Water service trucks. You got those. You got lav trucks.
Yep. Lavatory service trucks, and water service trucks. So our standard offering, or our initial offering, was vacuum, and then we also offer gravity trucks for the lavatory service. And then the water truck really is just taking the same tank technology and obviously in a cleaner manner, and taking the baffle out and offering that. So what it does is it gives the customers a very common platform between the two from parts and support standpoint. So there's very little difference actually between the two products, bar the baffle and the tank.
Are the tanks built at your facility as well?
Yeah, so we do everything, on our trucks. The vast majority of what you see on our trucks, we fabricate in-house, especially the steel work. So those tanks are manufactured in-house, cut on our lasers, welded by our welders, and then either shipped across the street for European assembly or shipped across the pond for American assembly. And then that way, again, as Johnny alluded to, it gives us a good consistency in what we're doing in our fabrication side of production, and it gives the customer a very common platform from support and training.
It does seem to be a big point of difference for Mallaghan that you all kind of do all your own fabrication.
Yes.
All this stuff is yours.
Yep.
It's coming out of one facility in Northern Ireland, so the same stuff that they're getting in Europe is the same stuff they're getting here. It's just being assembled here, but it all comes from over there.
Yep.
it's a very consistent product. And I think that's just an important thing that people need to understand, and the high quality that's coming out of that. And that's the reason you're able to provide the kind of quality products you have.
I think when a lot of customers come, to our Northern Ireland facility, I think that's one of the standout things that they mostly comment on, because, there is and both business models work. So there's no one right or wrong way of doing things. But a lot of people now, you'll find outsource maybe the fabrication side of it and bring that in just through supply chain partners, and then tend to just concentrate on the assembly of the product. But we have always been that sort of raw metal through to finished product. And there's very little we don't do on site other than the likes of galvanizing and stuff where we put it out. But everything else we do, whether it's aluminum or stainless steel or mild steel, all of those, from a small component to a large set of scissors to even the box bodies that you see on our catering and cleaning trucks, those walls and all of that are made in-house. So we have, we buy in the rolls of GRP, the foam insulation, stainless steel, plywood. We make all those panels in-house. We have CNC routers and gluing machines. And so we very much like to control our supply chain. It gives us that feeling that we own the quality of it, the reliability of it. And we know when we can make things and we don't find ourselves suddenly at the bottom of somebody else's queue.
Yeah.
And so it has always been the mantra to, if we can do it in-house, and Joe talked about, the investment is that there's a lot of highly spec technical metal processing machinery in Dungannon that allows us not only to supply our headquarters from an assembly point of view, but we can then take all those components, we can put them in shipping containers, and they can be here in Newnan in a matter of weeks. And, we're painting and assembling here. And as you say, it's consistency of product. So, if some of our customers work in multiple markets. So if you buy a water truck from us in Europe, and you buy a water truck from, really the only difference you'll see in it probably is the chassis sitting underneath it. Everything else has come out the same factory, designed the same way, built the same way. And again, it's that.
Well, that helps from a parts, perspective as well, I'm sure.
Yep, it does. And again, our ability to support in the aftermarket comes from the fact that if someone has an operational need, whether it's a purchased part or indeed a manufactured part, we have much more ownership of being able to get something to them quickly, rather than relying on a third party maybe helping us out when we're behind the 8 ball or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Matt, I just want to comment. I don't know if you picked up on it, but you see what John just did there is he said aluminum. It was a purposeful, placating the Americans. It's usually aluminium. But
he actually he changed it for
there.
us.
I got to give him credit.
That.
I got to give him credit on that one.
I can only do 2 things. I can switch the date, so I can do 831, and I can do aluminum. Beyond that, Matt, I'm born and bred UK native. I do all the wrong things and say all the wrong things at the wrong time. I do kilos and not pounds, and I do meters and not feet and inches. But I'm trying.
So it looks like a lot of your products are built on these scissor lifts, right? Yeah. That's kind of your bread and butter. So what makes your scissor lifts different than everybody else's in the marketplace? Like why are all your products that have those scissor lifts so popular?
No, it's just the same thing again. It's the quality. It's we a lot of attention to detail. We engineer that product from the ground up. We from the scissors, the subframe, the cross members, everything is designed in-house, fabricated in-house, and it leads to a very high quality product on the front end, very smooth, stable operation, very reliable, and it goes out into the customer's operations and it provides them years of reliable service. So that's we engineer that product very heavy duty, a lot of structural steel. You saw in the scissors, the thickness of the different steel plates. We really take a lot of pride in that. That's kind of our calling card is the scissor assembly. So that's led to a big following for our product globally, but the growth in the Americas that we've talked about. But on top of that is technology. So it's again driving that innovation. It's using future-proof technologies and controllers that allow customers to spec sensors and controlled approach systems, both at production and then upgrade in the field should their operations change. So that we try to build a product that's future-proofed in many ways. So innovative at the time of production, but upgradable down the road.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, the scissors is I suppose one of the calling cards in some ways. So, a lot of people, when you see a scissor product in different applications, not just GSE, it tends to be people will buy a bit of box section steel and maybe put some additional strengthening stuff into it. Ours is a fully engineered product. It's made out of plate, not box section. So we effectively construct the scissor out of steel plate, and the strength in that is the accuracy, the steel that we're cutting. So Joe referenced earlier plate lasers, tube lasers, all of that investment that's going on in our fabrication facility, and then the skill in our welding team and our welding operations. An awful lot of our guys have been with us for 20 years plus, and that skill and knowledge and experience, coupled with some mechanical aids and jigs and fixtures and stuff to make it a little easier for them. But that skill and knowledge and consistency of product is what helps people become, I suppose, dominant in their respective areas. And there's a lot of work gone into the engineering of the product, and then there's a lot of pride goes into actually the quality of the build thereafter. And I think, or I hope, that's what customers expect and receive from us when they take a high lift truck off the production line.
Well, that's kind of what I think, I've noticed when walking around with Joe is just the high level of quality that you all produce. And then, one thing that you kind of went over that I found really interesting was like how there's no seams. And I want you to kind of dive into that real quick as far as when you're catering trucks. Yeah. Just because I found that to be really interesting. I didn't know that. And I thought you should expand on that.
Having come from the operations side, it's probably not something that's commonly known, but those foods and Cokes and different soda products, as they're on those trucks and they get damaged inevitably or freeze or break, that product leaks into the floor. And we have an extruded single piece of sheet metal or aluminum sheet that is laminated into the floor assembly. And what that does is provides a seamless surface that doesn't allow that stuff to leak into the framework or into the paneling of the truck and ultimately damage it. So it's a very small detail, but it's hugely impactful to the life of the trucks, because if you looked at older high lift trucks that had welded floors or gaps in the weld, had seams in the plank, that you would have tons of corrosion in the base frames of those trucks. So it's just a small detail that leads to a much longer and longevity in the product.
Do y'all do buses here in the U.S.?
We would offer buses here in the U.S. I mean, it's back to airport operations in different regions of the world. So, I'm a regular traveler to this part of the world, and invariably when I land at whatever airport in North America, there's a boarding bridge gets me off. And so, straight away I'm into the terminal building. If you go into some of our major European operations, airport operations, maybe just due to the size and scale and availability of gates at some of these major hubs, there's a lot of remote stand operations go on. And I'm sure all of you guys have experienced that coming off the aircraft and getting loaded onto the shuttle buses to take you from the aircraft to the terminal building. So that's the bus that we make. We make that passenger bus that shuttles people from the terminal to the aircraft. And as I say, in North America, absolutely there are remote stand operations happening here, and
they're just not as prevalent.
They're not as prevalent, Matt. And so what we find is probably more in our UK, European, Middle Eastern markets. It's a much more accepted mode prevalent of operation, practice. Airport practice.
For sure.
So we see it not, and again on that side, that product was developed with initially a diesel powertrain.
Yeah.
But as the rest of the industry has migrated, we are now probably primarily offering only an electric powertrain version.
Yeah.
So again, lithium battery powered, and it's just another part of the product portfolio.
It's a beautiful bus. I mean, that's what caught my eye. That's the reason I wanted to bring it up, because it's a really nice looking bus.
It is, and it's slightly different. I think, when we look at our overall product portfolio, a lot of the machines or a lot of the equipment we make is what I would call service vehicles. So, they're the type of ones that probably as a passenger on an aircraft, you don't really give a second glance to, other than, I wonder if that's my suitcase coming up a belt conveyor, or is that my case in a bag cart? But the bus is still very much part of the passenger experience. And I'm not saying it's that, when you're ready to go on vacation, the bus journey from the aircraft to the terminal is probably not the highlight of it, but it is part of the passenger experience. So I suppose when we built that or developed that product, you did have to think a lot more about the aesthetics of it, the fit, the finish, the air conditioning within it, because it is. It's not a bunch of ramp guys doing what they do on a day-to-day basis. It's very much around the paying customer coming off that long flight and getting in a bus and really just want to get there as efficiently and reliably as possible so they can go start their business trip or their vacation or whatever. So it gave us a different way of thinking, and obviously very much as you sort of pointed out there, it's even the aesthetics of the vehicle where, we wanted it to be something that looked like a modern vehicle that sort of looked attractive on the ramp.
Yeah. And how many passengers is that?
So it'll do, I had to give a sort of, there's a guideline how you size it all up, but it's probably up to about 110 passengers now. If that's based on the way I had to calculate square footage. If you imagine if everybody's got a carry-on and stuff, it becomes 110 people might be a little tight.
Yeah,
it
might be a little tight.
But it's, that's the idea is it's sort of built around, we see a lot in Europe where you're getting a lot of those short-haul aircraft and then they're shuttling a lot of passengers. So typically a couple of buses would come out and deplane an aircraft and get everybody back into the terminal building.
And so then passenger stairs, so those are motorized passenger stairs?
Both motorized and towable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we offer both. So the towable is probably more prevalent in Europe. Here in North America, we Mallaghan does a lot of the motorized self-propelled passenger stairs, both on commercial truck chassis as well as our own chassis.
Oh, you have your own chassis?
Yeah, so a lot of our what we call our purpose-built products, we would have our own kind of industrial chassis that underpins it. So the likes of the passenger stair, our bendy belt product, aircraft maintenance lift trucks, we would use our modular self-propelled chassis that can use internal combustion engine electric to underpin those products. So we've seen a lot of growth, as John said. We start with the catering trucks, but that's been a big growth for us, is kind of the passenger stair and the aircraft maintenance lift truck using that self-propelled chassis. And for us, that's an insulation to kind of the potential supply chain disruptions with commercial truck chassis and availability is we can offer a product that is Mallaghan through and through. So you're not having to rely on Isuzu or Ford or Freightliner support. You come to us and we can support that product for you.
Gotcha. You all don't do lav or water carts. Is that correct? Just trucks?
No, we like something that's motorized. So, very much our whole GSE offering, even the towable passenger stairs, most of them are now fitted with either an internal combustion engine or really nowadays almost all electric. So the towable part is more to do with the fact that you can hitch it to a bag tractor and move it around the airport. But the on-gate operation it's still a powered or motorized function to get it to and from the aircraft. So everything we tend to do has its inbuilt powertrain to move itself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So no carts, no motorized equipment has never been our I suppose our path forward. There's a lot of very good people moving around in that market, and I suppose we have become known for the motorized product. And probably now when I've been with the company for 12 years, and we were very much known for our high lift product, and that would have been heavily biased. Our overall output would have been heavily biased to that high lift. But through product development and product innovation, we've probably now reached a point where high lifts are probably half our output on a per annum basis, and then the other GSE products that we manufacture take up the other 50% of our overall sort of sales and product output per year. So it's a nice balance to have. And as Joe points out, we do on our high lift still very much rely on our partners in the commercial truck market. So, here in North America, sort of Ford and International and Isuzu and Freightliner are very much form the foundation of almost all our commercial truck mounted pieces of equipment. But we do still have a significant portion of our GSE products, including the bus. So even on the bus itself, that's a Mallaghan chassis. But our passenger stair, our maintenance lift trucks, some of our medical lifts, all of them are on a purpose-built Mallaghan chassis. So it does give you a nice balance. And as I say, our production lines back in Ireland and even here, we tend to split between high lift trucks and other GSE products. So the idea is you want to be able to support your customers with multi-product sort of portfolios, particularly where some of the big airlines need many different sort of product offerings to keep their operations going. So no, it's a nice suite of machines to have. And obviously what we're always trying to do is see, well, what's the next best thing we can be looking to develop,
So you have a Bindi belt.
We do.
So was there a belt loader before the Bindi belt, or was that kind of just? No,
we went all in. We went all in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Went in the deep end on that one.
No, we had, again, and I think I mentioned earlier, some of our best product development products have been where we have been in partnership with an end customer. We can say to us, hey, look, we've an operational challenge we're trying to solve here. We'd like to work with you and give you our input into your product development. And that really helps not only make sure that we tick many of the boxes that the product will need to have, but, by the time we bring it out and get it into that kind of first article testing and all the rest, a lot of the heavy lifting has been done because our end customer or potential end customer has been involved in the development phase. So the Bendy belt was similar to that. We had a customer that we worked with over in Europe, and they expressed a desire to really try and take that extendable belt technology into their operation. And clearly there were others in the market that were involved in producing some fine products, I have to say, in that regard. But, again, like we do with most of our products, we went away and looked at a way that we could do it in our mode of operation. So, other people use a lot of roller technology to provide that extendable belt. We have in some ways, maybe a more a simpler, maybe more
mechanical
robust,
approach.
Mechanical, chain-driven, a continuous belt with flights rather than rollers. So just different way of doing the same kind of operation. But what we hope is that it brings some innovative features that others weren't thinking about or didn't have on their own products. So, again, it's been a product. It's been around for probably 10, 11, 12, we've had it, and it's gone through various guises and reinventions. And again, it's still a product that I believe we will continue to reinvent and refine. And obviously now that it's already moved into an electrical product offering, so we can provide an electric bendy belt now. And
oh wow.
It's it's still very much seen as a core product for us, and we still see great success, and not only in terms of people want electrification, but we talked about supply chain challenges and joked about it earlier. Labor challenges are obviously another big industry sort of stick point at the moment, and trying to bring new people in, and particularly young people, to come into our industry. And I think a lot of what we have to do is use technology now to make it more attractive to people to come in. You know, people don't want to think that they've I hate to say it, a lifetime of lifting heavy bags or moving heavy cargo or heavy freight. And, you know, technology now is available to support that and make manual handling go away to some degree. And the bendy belt and similar extendable belt products are very much core to that. And I think as things move forward, not only with electrification and that net zero goal, but you know, making things easier for the operators. So, you know, some of that will be through innovation around reducing lifting and manual handling and stuff. Other parts of it in time will probably come through automation and semi-autonomous, or, you know, there's a lot of buzzwords obviously in the industry about where it may end up. And, you know, we very much see that as part of our natural progression of product technology. But it's fun to be around. It's fun to think that you're making a difference to people's lives on the ramp, because undoubtedly it is a hard life out there in all weathers and all temperatures and day and night operations. And, you know, where we can provide some technology that maybe makes some of that a little easier for people on the ramp, then we very much see it as being a win-win, both for us as a manufacturer and obviously for the end user.
Yeah, a lot of the end users are asking for telematics as well. So is that something that you all will do for them? Like provide? Yeah. I mean, if they choose a provider, will you all put it on to your trucks?
Yeah, no, we, you know, our electrical infrastructure on all of our products, we talked about a controller, but we have a network of data points that are available that if the customer or the end user has their own preferred system, we can integrate that system quite easily onto our products. And then we also have the availability to offer a Mallaghan system as built in from the production process. We can offer that system to them, and we integrate it into our customer care program to help them plan out, you know, some of their maintenance events, schedule out proactive maintenance, but also reactive maintenance and troubleshooting the products that are in the field. When we integrate those systems, we were able to dial into the product, see the list of trouble codes, or understand what it was doing when it had an issue, and even enact changes to the system to address different operational profiles the customer may have. So telemetry, we're launching later this year, we're launching our virtual troubleshooting platform, which will allow the end user to scan a QR code on any of their Mallaghan products and enter into in essence, an interactive FaceTime with Mallaghan technical support. And what that'll do is allow our subject matter experts here, both in Ireland and in America, to manipulate the screen, highlight different areas that the on-site technician, both Mallaghan or the customers, and help them troubleshoot their products. So between the technology available through telemetry, the technology available through two-way virtual communication, it's really about trying to drive as much value into the post-sale of the product and really bring a full circle value proposition for the customers, both from the time they buy the product through the support and through the end of life. So all of those technology investments are going to be key for us.
Do you all have parts here in the United States?
Yep. Yeah. No, okay. We here in the factory, we have an entire warehouse dedicated to spare parts. We look at that on a regular basis. We look at what is our current fleet offering, or what is our current fleet exposure in the region. We look at what we're offering or what's coming into the region in the coming period. We adjust the inventories appropriately. We also work with the different customers. Some of the larger airlines have parts programs where we'll put together spare parts kits and get them out to them in advance of a planned maintenance event. But we can support that all out of this facility, but also our headquarters. We have a massive inventory of parts available, and as John said, by controlling our supply chain and manufacturing a lot of those parts on hand, or the fabricated parts, we can really offer a very aggressive lead times for most of the parts on your Mallaghan equipment.
Do you all have traveling technicians just in case we have
do.
some stuff out in the field happen?
We do. We have some guys that just love that lifestyle of city to city, and you know, it can be both the troubleshooting part, but a lot more of it is along the front end stuff. So when new equipment goes in, it's that commissioning and training and, you know, operational support, maintenance support, training the trainer, training the maintenance shop on the ground, all that. So we do a lot of stuff front end with our service engineers. They would be, you know, they're very much part of the fabric of, as Joe talked about, the post-sales support. And all of those guys have... Most of them I've spent a long number of years on the production floor, know the product intimately, and you know, they're very much seen. I very much see them as and I'm not being detrimental to salespeople here, but you know, they're very much your front end guys that very much drive the reputation and all the rest of it into your end user's operation. And you know, we sort of pride ourselves on some of the guys that are out there doing that great work for us. It's a tough life, that.
It is,
and you know, they cover a lot of miles. I suspect there's a lot of air miles accumulated in some of those guys, but no, they do a great job for us. And as I say, we accept we're like anybody else. It's a piece of machinery. You know, eventually something will give you trouble, something will wear out, something will hit a failure point, and I always think the strength of what you offer your customers is the acceptance that if that happens, it's how you react and how you support them. And I think what we want to do is just make sure that people feel that, as Joe says, if we can find it an easy way for them to seamlessly contact us, whether it's virtually or over the phone, or that we can give them that front end support, try and fix it there and then. But if we need to put some boots on the ground and stuff, we can do that quickly and backed up then by an inventory of parts and stuff that we keep here in Newnan. So
yeah, well, Exceed is excited because we have some units coming down the line from you guys.
You do, you do. Funny,
we're very excited.
We're looking at that. They're coming not too far away
we got a
now.
water truck,
water truck, lav truck,
and then also 2024. Obviously, we'll have some more stuff coming as well. So we're very excited about that and having this partnership with you guys, and we appreciate it.
We appreciate the business, Matt. We always do.
Really, really do. Look forward to working with you.
What else do we need to cover? What else do you want to get out there?
I would think probably the electric cabin service or electric catering truck.
Yeah. So one of the great sort of last untapped pieces of our product portfolio is those electric vehicles that sit on a commercial truck chassis. And you know, where we've talked about our drive for electrification, it's very much been those products that we have almost solely in our own control. So whether it be our bendy belt, our passenger stairs, our maintenance lift trucks, anything that we can electrify ourselves because they sit on our purpose-built chassis.
Okay.
We've obviously been able to migrate them quicker than the fact that where we have a commercial truck offering, and that primarily would either be our de-icer product or our high lift products, so catering and cleaning. We're very much dependent on the commercial truck market bringing their product offering. And one of the great things there is that, you know, there's, you know, you can see now just by reading industry press and stuff, most of the major truck manufacturers are either now putting an EV, BEV product out there onto the market, or are certainly well into the development and getting ready to launch. So, you know, we would like to retain our position as a market leader on high lift vehicles, and I think the way to do that is to strengthen our position through, I suppose, the fast deployment or be at the forefront of this BEV electric truck, electric catering truck, electric cabin cleaning truck. So we work with very good partners on the commercial truck side where we're sort of heavily into that product development at the moment. And I suspect it will be, you mentioned 2024 there, and what we want to do 2024, I suspect will be our launch point for bringing that high lift product to to the market in terms of a fully fledged North American battery electric vehicle with a Mallaghan scissor and a Mallaghan cabin on the top of it. So we're really excited about that. I think that's, for us, that's, we've wanted to make sure that we pick the right partner and the right truck, and we have that in Europe. So we work with Volvo over in Europe and their product offering and what we want to do. I talked about consolidation and consistency and all that. Yeah. So we've a fantastic relationship with Volvo in Europe, and we use their product on the EV side there. And then here in North America, when we get into next year, we obviously hope then to launch the EV high lift truck for Mallaghan also, and that's an exciting time for us. As I say, it's great to find out. It's one of those products that it's more out with our control. We can't be we're not a truck manufacturer, so we rely on good partnerships there. But I think one thing that we've been able to share is this real drive within our industry in aviation to head towards this net zero targets. And so the truck manufacturers themselves have started to understand, hey, there's possibly a market that we weren't maybe putting as much attention to, particularly where this EV piece is. It's an infrastructure piece that the airports are putting a lot of effort and investment into getting themselves EV ready, and I think the truck manufacturers have started to recognise, hey, there's a little gap there, and it's a way of us getting our new EV product, our new EV trucks into a working environment that'll give us not only a new product segment but also some good data on our new, make our products more reliable and better for the long term. It's
really it's a perfect use case for battery electric in the airport environment, because the speeds are low, the drive distances are very short relative to what you would have in like a delivery application. Yeah. So when we bring them in and we show them kind of what we're doing and the data sets that we have from the telemetry of current use, it perfectly fits with where their current product offering is in electric. And it just becomes a matter of a partnership with the engineering between us as the end user, or us as the upfitter, and them as the manufacturer, of trying to integrate the two technologies. And it really comes down to spacing and packaging, but working with a major OEM and having the level of engineering buy-in we've gotten from them is because we've brought them in with our partners. We've shown them the use case, and as John said, it's really a great opportunity for them to get their product out in mass in an environment that actually really, really suits where the technology sits currently. And as battery technology and motor technology evolves, the on-road applications will become easier and easier. But as it sits today, it really, really fits very well with the airport environment.
I'm excited to see Volvo in the airport environment.
Yeah, so I mean that's
a great partnership.
Volvo's a great partner for us. We have that out in Europe. We're currently, we have that truck in service in Europe, and we're building several more this year, and then launching the North American version.
And it'll still be Volvo here in the U.S. as well.
No,
okay,
no.
That's the European version.
That's the European, and it's back to we've built fantastic relationships over the 12 years or so we've been in North America. We work with Ford, we work with Freightliner, we work with International and Isuzu, and a couple others. I suppose what we've done is gone around and talked to all of them and looked at where they are on their own EV journey. Yeah. And we still want the truck to look American and smell American and feel American, and probably more importantly be supported. That's critical. So the dealer network support that you would get from one of those US based would far exceed anything that we could ever do by bringing over a European biased truck. So we've had to wait till the right partner has been on that point in their journey. But as Joe points out, that when we actually introduced them to the airport environment, you could see the light bulb moment in their engineers. Look, this is perfect for us.
We can do this.
We can do this part. Yeah. We can do this part. We're not trying to drive down a highway for 10 hours a day at 80 kilometers or 70 miles an hour.
What is he talking about? He slipped.
70 miles an hour. So that part of it is that part of it really, I think, is where we've had the real buy-in from the US based truck OEMs, and now I think we really have something coming to market that will really get our rebadge effectively the high lift product, because I suspect in the years to come, as infrastructure and I suppose net zero targets become more and more prevalent for our customers, that this pivot towards even on the commercial truck side will become much more
infrastructure availability and product maturity, and mandates from government entities to electrify as much of the airport environment as possible. And it's as John said, it's kind of the next evolution of what the Mallaghan high lift truck will look like.
Well, we're excited to see it. Hopefully we'll see it very soon in
that's
Vegas.
The plan.
That's the plan.
So, all right. So speaking of Vegas, what's your favorite food spot to go to in Vegas? And Joe, I'll start with you. Is there anything you look forward to every year when you go out to Vegas for the expo?
The Golden Steer.
The Golden Steer.
Yep. Steakhouse. Fantastic.
I've never heard of the Golden Steer. This is the reason I asked this question. It's
I'm not gonna upset anybody by picking a particular restaurant, but the thing that always amazes me in Vegas is if I go for a breakfast, I can probably consume about 5,000 calories.
Right.
I get a breakfast that delivers me 3 waffles, 4 breasts of chicken, enough maple syrup.
But that's in a Bloody Mary.
Yeah,
exactly. Sitting on top of the Bloody Mary with a thing through it.
Yeah, and I get that blood sugar rush that lasts for about another 12 hours. So yeah, what I would say in Vegas, it's not so much a particular. I mean,
it's the quantity more than the quality.
Well, it has a fantastic range of eateries. I mean, the restaurants there, bar none, are and so accessible around, and some of the hotels and their restaurants are fantastic. But no, what always, even as a regular visitor to these shores, that the scale of food offering at some of these restaurants would feel a small family of 4 back in Europe for a couple of nights, Matt. Never mind for breakfast,
Exactly. Well, yeah, we're looking forward to the show. I think it's gonna, this show is gonna be, I think, probably one of the best ones we've had, just because everybody's ready to get out there. We obviously had in 2021, but there was still people wearing masks, and hand sanitizers, the whole deal. I think this one's going to be. I think people are rearing to go. It's going to be awesome.
You asked earlier, so it's booth 1142.
Oh, okay, 1142. So make sure you stop by 1142 and 617, which will be indoors. So when they can come out and see your product, right, and get all hot and sweaty, and then when they're ready to come and relax, they can come to our booth.
Exactly.
How's that sound?
That's a win-win, Matt.
I think so.
That's partnership.
That's a true partnership right there. So, well, that's all I had, guys. Do you all? Just last call. Want to make sure that there's nothing else that we didn't cover.
No, I think you've managed us well. I often think sometimes we have maybe sometimes a reputation that we enjoy the finer things in life also. So you've kept us on a nice neat path here today.
Yeah, tried to.
You've done very well. I do want to say not only thank you for giving us this opportunity to sit and talk to you today. A special thank you for Exceed and the support they've given us for the golf tournament we talked about earlier. I know we talked about the little bit of business we're doing together, and we very much appreciate that. But on a human level, I think the support you're giving us around this golf tournament is still very raw to some people. Joe touched on Shane's father still very much involved in Mallaghan's operations. So I think we brought him out here for the inaugural tournament last year, and for anybody that attended, it was a very emotional moment when we got ready to go, and so it's anybody that's connected to it, anybody that's supporting us, anybody that's coming to play in the tournament, can we just say thank you for your support? It's hugely appreciated. We believe we're doing it for a great cause. It's a terrible issue particularly for young people, but I can speak even on a personal level. It's a terrible thing for families to have to face and consider, and I think hey, it's a chance to highlight that great cause, and where we got great support from you guys. It's please take it from us. We're wholly appreciative of it.
No, I would echo the same thing, and the health crisis that affects today's youth, and the mental burden that is placed on them. And Mallaghan is a very young company. I don't think we touched on it earlier, but we have over 70 people here in the facility in Atlanta, with an average age of 26, 27 years old. So it's often joked or overlooked, but you never know what someone's going through. And so to drive that awareness for suicide awareness and prevention, and the support we've gotten from the likes of Exceed and the other presenting sponsors, and Delta and Averest and Waters is humbling, and really would welcome anyone in the industry and anyone that hears this to come out and support and be a part of it.
So is there still spots left? Any sponsorship opportunities left? Yep.
We have some sponsorship opportunities left.
So how would they get in touch with you if somebody wanted to sponsor or get involved in the tournament?
Yeah. So if they can reach out to Shamrock Classic at mallaghangroup.com. That's our charity email address. Or reach out to me or John, and we'll pass along the information and the details. We have a website that they can go on to, either donate or sponsor a team or a whole, and really come out and be a part of it. So, we would welcome anyone, regardless of who they are, competitor or not, come out and be a part of it.
Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah. Well, I think we sponsored the first year as well. The
you
inaugural
did.
year. So this is our second year. So we got to keep it going. We can't let it lapse.
We're on a roll
every year, right? So, well, thank you all so much for taking the opportunity to talk to me and talk about your products. And I really appreciate it, and having me and hosting me at your facility and showing me around. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Really enjoyed it.
Appreciate the partnership.
Not a problem. Well, this is Matt, and this will do it for the GSE podcast. Thanks a lot, guys. All right, that's a wrap of this episode of the GSE Podcast. A heartfelt thank you to Mallaghan for sharing their invaluable insights with us today. If you're as passionate about the ground sport equipment industry as we are, please hit that subscribe button and share this episode with fellow GSE enthusiasts. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more of these enlightening discussions to you. Now, for those attending the GSE Expo from September 26th to the 28th, here's an opportunity you won't want to miss. Visit Exceed at booth 617 and take the mic. That's right, you can record an intro or an outro for the GSE podcast. Who knows, you might just hear your own voice in our upcoming episodes. Thanks for tuning in.